Hey everyone, it's Anthony Romano. I'm the marketing manager here at Policy Buff, and it's been a minute since we put one of these videos out, but we're bringing back the How I Got the Shot series. And in this episode, we're going to discuss high key portraits and how I like to set them up. So we had Jacob in the studio today, and he was looking to add some black and white portraits to his modeling portfolio. We were going through some options, and I really like the look of a high-key black and white portrait, and he was totally game. There are various ways that you can do a high-key portrait. You can start with one light and add in a V-flat or a bounce card, all the way up to a more complicated multi-light setup. For me, I like to use two lights when I create my high-key portraits. To start, I grab my light with my large modifier and place it behind my subject. For me, one of my favorite go-to modifiers is our largest soft silver PLM with the white front diffusion fabric. With the modifier being placed directly behind our subject, it's acting as the backdrop. If you don't have a PLM, you can use a large octabox or something like a large scrim. One thing to note when placing the light behind your subject, you want to make sure that it's positioned behind them enough so that they're blocking the flash unit from view of the camera. At this point, now that the light is set up as the backdrop, I could grab a V-flat and have that bounce some light back into my model's face for fill. But for me, while that's a really soft and pretty light, I like something with a little bit more contrast and a little bit more pop, so that's why I add in the second light. For my second light, I'm going to grab my other go-to favorite modifier, which is a 24-inch foldable beauty dish in silver. While it's also available in white, I choose to use the silver version because it gives a little bit more contrast and a little bit more pop. I put the beauty dish on a 13-foot combination boom stand, positioned it slightly above the model, and angled it down about 45 degrees. One thing you want to watch out for is, since you're placing the modifier slightly above your model, you want to pay attention that you don't lose the catch lights in their eyes by placing it too high up. For this shoot, I used two of our Link 800 watt second flash units, and the light that was directly behind Jacob, I set a little bit brighter than I did my foreground light, and it gave me a more crisper, poppier white background. What's also really cool about having the backlight set a little bit brighter, depending on how close your model is to the light, you can get a rim light effect, which you'll see in some of my images. Now, when I say that you want your backlight a little bit brighter than your foreground light, I don't mean 3 stops difference. Maybe start out about 1/10 of a stop, 2/10 of a stop, maybe up to 1/2 a stop. There's going to be a bunch of different variables, like the distance of your model to your backlight, so you just need to play around. Now, what can happen if the background light is set way too bright in comparison to the foreground is you're going to get a spill of light all over your model that you don't want, or you can even get glowy ears, which never looks good. So the way I achieve this balance is by first setting my foreground light to the proper exposure on my model. And then what I do is I take note of what my output setting is, go to my backlight, and set that a little bit brighter than what my foreground light is set to. So while the primary purpose for this shoot was to get Jake some black and white, edgier, high-key portraits, I'm also going to share some of my color versions for you so you can see how a high-key setup also translates to something a little bit more commercial. Thanks so much for watching How I Got the Shot. Now we want to see what you can create. Follow us on Instagram at PolicyBuff Inc. And if there's a particular lighting technique that you're interested in learning more about, go ahead and leave us a suggestion in the comments below.